Hey family! Again, thank you for joining me for another edition of Plant Dominant Dollars with Nina Fletcher. I am your host, Nina Fletcher. I don't have to go through formalities. Let's get cracking. I have a couple of questions I'm going to be answering with this video as well. As you know, this video is, we have everybody from hardcore vegans to moderate transitioners. So we have a transitioners question. We have two of them actually that I know you guys have been pretty much watching for quite some time. And I want to thank you. You shall remain anonymous as requested. But I want to make sure to answer your question since I'm not up on the live streaming yet. So this show is going to be making waffles and pancakes without dairy, because the one question was for a career mom like myself, and a lot of times when we as busy career women get towards the end of the weekend, that's the time we spend with our kids. So when you are a transitioner and you're not having bacon and sausage and all that other good stuff, and your kids want pancakes and stuff like that, you want to know how to do it. So the question is, how can I have a transitioner type pancake and waffle that my children will enjoy? Now, first thing I would say, and I'm assuming if you're saying pancakes and waffles, you have a waffle maker. So I've got both heating up here. I have my griddle and I have the waffle, and this show is for you in particular, okay? Now, I will say that there is a different recipe that I use for pancakes. It's much more nutrient dense, but since you're feeding children and you're early in the transition, I figured I should make it as easily adaptable as the other recipe you're used to, like maybe, I'm thinking from the box. Yeah, okay. And I'm also going to help you cut out that pancake syrup, the popular ones that you use. We gonna get rid of that, and we're gonna put some good sugars in its place. Okay, so that's question number one, and we'll get to that in a minute. Question number two, this is from a gentleman who is bodybuilding, and he is concerned about proteins. Okay, I want to remind you that some of the hugest animals in the wild kingdom, your gorillas, your deer, your whoever it is, they are not carnivores. You get your proteins from plants, okay? Proteins is something that synthesizes inside of you from plants. So the question directly was, can you use meats in with, say, your smoothies, that kind of thing? Now, before any other person that, you're hardcore vegans, we judge nobody here. We answer all questions. And we admire you for trying. And we admire you for continuing to ask questions. So the answer to you would be, it would not be a smart idea or a good idea to use animal proteins in your smoothies, because when you blend them, the fibers get hard. So you won't have an even consistency. I would strongly suggest to you to use soaked sprouted chickpeas or soaked nuts. And if you do those in your smoothies, they taste wonderful. They give it a creamy effect, and you'll be much more happy with the results. Okay? Thanks for your question. All right, let's get cracking. So in a bowl, I have a little bit of organic white flour. Now let me explain. I'm using the organic white because it soaks up the moisture a little bit differently. Sometimes when you use the more whole flours, the pancakes are a little bit more dense and don't necessarily come out as light as you'd like them. Since you're feeding children, I'm thinking that you're going to want them a little bit light and fluffy. So I'm using organic white, but I'm also cutting that with a little bit of spelt flour. So you have two types of flour in this pancake. You have the organic white, you have spelt, and the measurement to that is if you're going to use about a cup of organic white, you're going to use about a half a cup of spelt. And as you go along, you use more spelt than organic white. Okay? Now, I also have a little bit of organic cane in here. Now, in general, in the healthier version of my pancakes, I use grapey maple. But here again, like I said, if you're looking for the lighter consistency, you're going to use the organic cane sugar. You're only going to use probably about a tablespoon and a half, maybe 2 tablespoons. Now, here's how you're going to make it rise and get rid of the eggs. You need to use double acting baking powder. And you can get it aluminum free, okay? And you're going to put about maybe half a table, 1.5 tablespoons, I'd say. Let me show you what that looks like. In fact, I'm going to show you in my hand because that's how I measure everything anyway. Look. Do that twice over, right? That's about a tablespoon, right? Do that twice over, throw it in a bowl, you're done. Okay, because you're just looking to get the rise out of it, okay? Now, with regards to the salt, you can use a little bit of the sea salt. That's about 1/4 of a teaspoon. Or you can use the pink Himalayan, sprinkle it in. Only thing that's rough about the pink Himalayan is if you don't get it to crank small enough, you might get these little salt bits, and that's not too pleasant all the time. So I would suggest sort of like the sea salt, okay? And that's pretty much the dry part of your mix. So you have the element that's going to make it rise. The next thing you need to do is get some air in it. So you're going to aerate it. I'm using a whisk. And notice in this, I'm considering the sugar as a dry ingredient. A lot of times in most other recipes, you put it in with the wet. I'm putting all dry ingredients together, aerating it so that it's light. You can go through the trouble of sifting the flour if you want to. Not your girl. Anyway, at least not today. Now to replace the dairy, of course we're using almond milk. Okay? Some people ask me, can you use soy? You can. But some of us have conditions or allergies to soy altogether that, you know, it's not necessarily the best choice for us. So if you are one of those people who may have an issue regulating your hormones, PMS, stuff like that, you might want to use almond milk, okay? And not necessarily soy. So basically, you're just nursing in the almond milk. Until you get a consistency. I like my pancakes and my waffles the same consistency. Slightly thick, okay? Thick and fluffy. Now, that's a little bit too thick for me. I'll put a little bit more in there. I'm going to say it's probably a good half a cup of almond milk. I want to say that's what it is. Give it a good stir. And what you're going to do, this is vanilla. I put a healthy teaspoon of that in. Some people prefer to use also almond extract. That's all well and good. I do not for what I'm getting ready to do. And sometimes kids, that's too confusing for them. You know, the almond extract, it doesn't resonate well with kids sometimes. So stick with the vanilla. And I'll give you a look at the consistency that it should be. See what I'm saying? You should have some ribbons coming off of it. Okay. So that is both your pancakes and your waffle mix. Now, here's what we do to make it more fun. Now, I've got a pancakes recipe for you, right, for in your spare time that you will enjoy, because I'm also using Myers Dark. It's a Bananas Foster pancakes, right? But for children, the way that I have cut the sugar, and my daughter, I'll never forget it, I made her waffle without the fruit topping, and she looked at me like she was being deprived. Like, you can't be serious right now. So once I started using the fruit instead of just the syrup, she wasn't going back. She was loving the fruit. So I'm going to share that with you. And children love, love, love it. Okay? But let me start first with the Bananas Foster. And then we're going to come back to our mix here, because part of it is that you sort of let it rest and rise just a little bit before you use it. All right, so I'm sure you noticed our beautiful fruit plate here. Let me introduce some of the new stuff here. These you've seen before. These are kiwi fruit. They're very fun. Kids sort of like it on the waffle as far as I can see, because it's ultra sweet. So I usually put a small layer of kiwi fruit. These are baby or burro bananas. These are very interesting because normal bananas, like the ones you get in the store, I'm allergic to those. Burro bananas, I am not allergic to them. I have not researched yet why some people are not allergic to the smaller bananas, but I will say to you, if you are allergic to the larger bananas, before you try the smaller ones, take the precautions necessary, okay? But I myself personally do not have an allergy to these, but I have an allergy to the bigger ones. How about that? So these are burro bananas, and of course we have the other recognizable stuff, our strawberries, our limes, a few beautiful berries. Let's get going. Bananas Foster, very easy. I have about 3 of the burro bananas put in my Vitamixer. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to show you something. This is creamed coconut. Okay. This is in the block. Here, I'm going to take it out the box so you can see it. This is simply coconut. Sometimes it's in your freezer case. Okay. It's creamed coconut in the block. Very sweet. Okay. And you get it. My advice to you would be to wait until it's not so cold and cut it with a very sharp knife, because it's brick hard. Got me? It's brick hard, okay? So when you're getting ready to use it, make sure you cut it with a very sharp knife, and make sure that it's not ice cold. After you've used it, you want to go ahead and refrigerate it, because remember, it is coconut. It's a perishable. So after, even though it's in the box, after you open the plastic, you got to put in the fridge. This can't go back in the, okay? All right, we're good. All right, so I have 3 burro bananas. I have creamed coconut. And I like to put in, again, a little bit of almond milk. And like I said, this one is for mom. Okay, you can stop short of the Myers Dark on this one, because this is Bananas Foster. Rum is used in Bananas Foster. Okay, so with the kids, Nick say the rum. Okay, you about a tablespoon. Okay. A little bit of cinnamon. And I prefer, I'm going to put a little bit more almond milk in there. Just a little bit. I don't want it drained. I'm going to put a little vanilla in. And I do prefer, let me think on this here. I think I'm going to stop there and put in just a little bit of grape beet maple. This is just a touch, maybe a teaspoon. Now the reason I'm doing that is this is more of like a filling to go in between the pancakes. You'll see in a minute. You're just going to put that on and blend it till it's smooth. Okay, so after that's done, you can sort of take it and you want to sit it, not for long, but just a little bit in the fridge. You want it to set up just a little bit, okay? So at this point, I'm going to come on over to my stove. And notice I'm starting everything with a cold pan. I have a few bar bananas in a small pan here that I'm going to be cooking. And I'm also having, now this is for the kids right here. These are a mixture of blackberries and strawberries. Now depending on the day, I mean, and depending on whether it's my daughter, my niece, and my nephews. One likes more of the other, blah, 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 blah. But I figured I'd show you what it's like to do it with both. Strawberries or blueberries. I think they taste great together. So, in both situations, you want to turn it to medium-high heat. These should not cook for a long time. It's fruit, so it's not going to take them a tremendous amount of time to break down. And you don't even really want them to break down. You just want them to glaze a little bit. You're going to put in a little bit of coconut oil. And you're going to do all this while the pot is cold. Okay? A little bit of cinnamon. And again, a little bit of vanilla in both. And I think you should be, oh, excuse me. You're going to get a little bit of grape beet maple in each. Now, grape beet maple is a far cry from the regular syrup that you purchase. Along with the fruit, it really does cut some of the manufactured sugar that's in there. So when I said I was going to help you cut some of the sugar so that your kids aren't eating the, I'm trying to keep from saying name brands, but you know the commercial brands of syrups, this is how you're doing it. You're using the benefit of the sugars that come from fruits as opposed to the manufactured sugars that are in the bottle and you don't even know where they're manufactured from. Okay? All right, so all that's necessary is for that to go ahead and heat up and start smelling and tasting wonderful. After you put everything in, you've pretty much done your job. Just keep it on medium-high heat. Let's get back on over to our mix. Now, my pans are already hot. This is my waffle maker. I thought this was kind of cool. This is, look, check it out. It's actually a double waffle maker. I thought that was neat. So I got my little double waffle maker going on here. And I also have a griddle for my pancakes. This was not bad. I do prefer to do my pancakes on a griddle. It helps me keep my eye on them a little bit. And so also, I just wanted to mention what you want to do. It's helpful to put like maybe a tablespoon of olive oil or grapeseed oil in the mix as well. But you don't do it first thing. You do it right after you let it rest a little bit. Okay? So you're going to see that get a really nice rise. Now let me note that our fruit has been on for approximately 2 minutes and it's pretty much done. So what I'm going to do, let me start up with the waffle. Notice I'm using the same mixture for the pancakes and the waffles. Okay, so now we're going to start sort of assembling our bananas Foster. Look at that wonderful, that sauce is like freaking awesome. So I don't do too much to the bananas because we all know bananas break real easy. So if you notice, I put them in a pan. I left them in one place so they don't get broken up and all mushy, nasty, terrible. And then what you do, layer them on. A little bit of your bananas Foster. And this is just me. I like a good little slice of strawberries, sometimes in between mine. Take another one. Yes, I do get creative with my food. I like high stacks of pancakes and all that other good stuff. I put some more on there like this. A little bit of the sauce. And again, this is a little bit of the bananas Foster cream that we made. And again, I like a few of these. And of course, the last one. I told you I stack it high. All right, and in the meantime, I'm also going to pull our waffle. Yeah, that's perfectly done. Let me get the other. Let me just shut these off for a minute. And I'll push one at a time for you. Okay, so I happen to like to top off my bananas Foster with just a little bit more of the cream on top. A little bit of a strawberry, but I do this one kind of fancy on top. And then depending on how I feel, do a little drizzle. Sometimes the bananas and everything else are just enough. That is a fun and tasty bananas Foster pancakes. Now, here goes the waffles for the kids. Now, I usually tell them to choose what fruit they want to put on the top. Now, kiwi. Real easy. People spend too much time on kiwi. Watch and learn. Now, did you notice what I did? I just cut it. I did earlier rinse the fruit, but I always just cut the skin off. You don't have to go with the peeler and all that. Then you rinse it again. So for kiwi, I always just do 2 rinses. Don't ask me why, it just makes sense to me. And sometimes they like a little bit of strawberry as well. A little bit of blackberries, a little bit of raspberries. I just go ahead and build it up and around with the fruit, and I allow them to decide which ones they want to try. A little bit of blueberries. Now for this, right at the end, this is a key lime, and I do it at the end and not necessarily during the cooking process. That's right at the end of their syrup. And then salt the spoon. And here is our delicious fruit syrup. Now, mind you, I have bypassed the butter. I have bypassed the eggs. And I have bypassed the milk. And I'm telling you, my niece, my nephews, my daughter, they will not eat their waffles without this recipe. The only other thing that I do to maybe give it a buttery taste, but technically it already has it with the coconut oil. They don't even know this. That's olive oil. I just drizzle a little bit on there because for some odd reason it gives it a buttery taste. And there you have your fruit-topped waffle. It is dairy-free. We have cut out the eggs. We have cut out the animal-based milk. We have reduced the sugar, and we have cut out the manufactured sugared syrup and added fruit. All right, now taste time. I'm gonna start with this one because my mouth was watering ever since. It would help if I used a knife, right? Yeah, they're nice. Look at that fruit. Look at this. Look at that. Okay. Perfect. That is really good. And like I said, look at my wrist did it for me. Excellent, excellent substitute. Children will love it. You will love it. Let's do the Bananas Foster. And for me, since there's so much like banana and the coconut going on and stuff like that, I don't use a lot of syrup on top. Got a little bit of pancake and a little bit of rum syrup. A little bit of the banana is on there. That is fabulous. So, we have it. Bananas Foster pancake. One for the mom. One for the kids. fruit rich, non-dairy, vegan. Thank you for joining me for this edition of Plant Dominant Dollars with Nina Fletcher. I will continue answering your questions and making new and awesome recipes. Bye.
Thank you for watching Plant Dominant Dollars with Nina Fletcher. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Tune in next week when Nina takes on.
And we are going to be talking hair today.
Here on Plant Dominant Dollars with Nina Fletcher. It's the genius!